That's actually me. There you go, team. It's Kaz from In the Trenches with Kaz, and like a sniper, I'm never alone. You wouldn't believe what I've got in my cupboard. JJ, don't get excited. It's actually the lovely, finish the sentence, you're going to smoke the whole bag.
It's Lauren.
It's Lauren. Or it's Daz, okay, after a shot of estrogen. Which one could it be? There's a bounty. Someone jump on there with a thumb of colour the second that Carl P jumps on. Let's see who's first. I hope you've all been well. We've got an interesting topic tonight. It is the lanes, the paper, scissors, rock of careers for all of those at a time rich wondering, do I do what my dad wants me to do, what my dad does, or do I do what I want to do and understand that my explanation, justification, or realisation of what success is different to others. It's not about monetary. It's about living my life. It's about achievement. It's about being the best version of me in order to make the best basement to become an even better version of me to attract others to my honeypot, so to speak. And then from there, continue on every 4 years, a different version of me. I'm talking about you. And then from there, look back one day and say, I've made mistakes, but I did it in the right order. I've learnt from my mistakes, and now I look on as a storyteller to those I love, and I've got enough people to line up to carry my coffin and more.
Yeah, and that process never stops, does it?
Nope.
That self-improvement process. Once you stop learning, you may as well just die.
Once you stop. Look who's here.
Who's here?
Country rogue, take me home. Songbird of my career. Generation.
Rogue.
It's actually Country Rogue.
Oh, Bailey's hat can't stick around, but they've popped in for a minute.
Do you know why?
Why?
It's because his hat flew off his head and landed on Boy George's bed. And wherever he lays his hat, that's his home. Bailey, Boy George is waiting. Delegate. Nicole King, happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday to you too. Or first day back at school for New South Wales. People going to public schools don't get stabbed. Guys and girls, look at all the names. Where do you start? Do you start with the Rats? Hello, buddy. Are you from Taruk? Do we have Cody? Do we have Ethan Davidson? The electric Harley Davidson. Carl P did his own bounty. He's got the diver's sign for AOK with 2 thumbs up there. I hope Ivan Milat didn't see those. He'd give you a lift.
At least it wasn't 3.
Yeah, we've got one shot there. JP.
Yep, he's here.
Peter Mayfield. Guess who else is here? Jay Hayes. I was going to ignore him because I just found out he's drinking Pepsi mixed with whiskey, which might as well be a concoction of liquid COVID.
Oh, come on now.
What a horrible drink. They were handing out free Pepsi at the Penrith Plaza, and people were saying, like their oath or affirmation, not on my watch.
Come on now. I would actually take a free Pepsi.
Yeah. But you're a girl.
I'd give it to someone else.
I'll give it to someone else. Mr. Bryce. My dad was a rat of Tobruk. That's better than being a rat of the mafia.
Yeah, that's true.
Those guys, they knew how to avoid sunburn, I tell you, mate. They were definitely the splinter in Rommel's side. That is for sure. It's great to have you here, team. And it seems like it's already a fairly big crowd, so to speak, more than a platoon. Double crap, Kaz. Worst drink. You were talking about Pepsi, I hope. World of Doro, not World of Warcraft, which was one of the most addictive games to all of those trying to avoid the baddies in the town of Flinders Street. I'm not sponsored, but I am wearing Coca-Cola tonight with clasp, and also my Coca-Cola, my vessel, my drink of choice tonight. And what we're going to do quickly, Lauren, is address.
All right, everybody sit.
The elephant in the room.
I've got 3 items on the docket. First, we need to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Francine, happy birthday.
So if it's anyone's else's birthday out there, let us know in comments here so we can say happy birthday. We've got Kura, not Kuru, Hillary Clinton. Thank you very much. What was that hole in your tongue? We've got Chris Dudfield. G'day Dudders. How you going, mate? Good to see you too. That's a man that never comes up short. Yeah. Can you actually see the screen? You can't, can you, Lauren?
I can see the screen, but I get a bit of lag. I saw that little clip from that show.
Come on, man.
That was quite a good movie, actually, for a kid movie.
Do you know what I think about that movie?
What?
I love it. It was a true story, wasn't it?
I love the sloth in the who works in the traffic department.
Here we go. Phoenix Knight says Pepsi is the favoured drink of some countries. Those without Coke, probably.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Drunk Aussie's back on his account.
Drunk Aussie, there you go. He's not on his missus' account anymore.
Yep.
Look for the parrot in the room. Jay Hayes is looking for him. Jay Hayes, remember to look out for Northside, the brother of Westside, not cerebral palsy.
Yep. Emma C's here. She's always very helpful in the comments.
Yeah, she is. And do you know what Emma loves?
We choose truth over facts.
She chooses truth over facts. That's one of Biden's favourite sayings for me. Or what was the other one about? What was it? African American kids can be just as. What was it?
Just as, I don't know.
Oh, I can't remember. You know, you can see how he supposedly got 82 million votes.
Yeah, and poor kids can be equal to white kids, I think he said.
Yeah, that's it. He's fake news, that dude. So tonight what we're going to talk about, guys and gals, is basically choose your life. If you were under the age of 22 years old, this is a video that really reaches into your soul. The reason why I say that is all three of these things, and we'll put this as paper, scissors, rock. We've got the military, and that is what I'm saying is a spear point. That could be potentially police force. That could be fire brigade. That could be the government services, those that are about adventure before financial gain, so to speak. You've got that, and that's got a 4-year commitment. And then you've got the tradie, 4-year commitment. And then you've got the businessman, university, 4-year commitment. So let's just blanket book those and call that 3 lanes. And this could just as easily be female. I just put that up there so I didn't put too many people in there. And the aesthetics look good too. And that's the 3 choices you have. If you're 22 years old or under and you've got time on your side, you need to ask yourself a few questions. Who is stimulating your career path? Is it something you want? Is it something your father wants? Is it something your father does? Is it something your grandfather did? Because somewhere in there, you have to also desire that outcome if you're going to pass at it. Yeah, working hard at something is been a time-old tradition. But you have a luxury in this lifetime where you have an element of choice to actually follow your heart's desire without most of the dangers that fell within. So if we were to say all 3 of those, understanding that you don't normally go from a businessman ever to a soldier unless it's Army Reserve. You don't normally go from a tradie into the army unless you don't like your trade. But you can go from the military to everything and above. It's sort of like a one-way valve. Now, your choices need to be partially yours. It's so difficult when we say to you that you should listen to wisdom at the same time, disregard it if it's not going the direction you're going in. So which wisdom do you listen to? An element of it has to be listening to yourself, to the beating desire within your chest to follow either the traditions and the footsteps of the Anzac, whether it's to go for the suitability, the quickest way to get to $1 million, while also having stability within your life and a set of skills that are probably never going to fail you, and that is to be a tradie, whether it be a plumber, whether it be a carpenter, boilermaker, mechanic, etc., that gives you entrepreneurial ability to expand in any state you wish to go. Or you want to go on to university. And the vast majority of people, I'm sure, when they do that, is because they need to make a decision quickly, and there seems to be some sort of drag race to commit yourself to a lifelong career. And that's not a recipe for success, is it? But when you go to university, you're doing it because you think money is the most important thing in life, and money gets the girls and everything will be a-okay, but then you get in there and you realise you're going to end up with a bloody big HEX bill if this is not what you want, You may not also have an industry even waiting for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Can I just do a little bit of housekeeping for 1 second?
Of course you can.
Interrupt you, Steve. Just try restarting and see if that fixes your chat, because we can see what you're saying, and there's lots of other people talking to you. So maybe just restart and see if that fixes your chat. I would just type it in chat, but he wouldn't be able to see it.
Is that
Thank you.
Brycey?
Yeah. Sorry for the interruption.
It's us guys with 10 thumbs, I swear.
Yeah. Sometimes chat can be a bit glitchy, like it did it to Fugly once.
Yeah, veterans' fingers start to turn into thumbs as we get older. That's why we can't do chin-ups. It's not upper body strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this is what I'm trying to say, team. There has to be your decision, and the more research you put into one of these paths, then it starts to answer your questions, and it allows you to choose a course of action that is able to be translated into emotion, logic, to someone else who is trying to tell you what they want for you, and you say, hey, that was cool for you, but it's not what I want, not yet. You know, because I hear the plight of so many people that are intelligent, okay, but are unable to translate their limited amount of wisdom in this world to someone who is a role model of them, and to be able to explain in a way that what I'm doing is not out of selfishness. What I'm doing is following my path, you know, that is not the same as yours, dad, grandpa, mum, missus, mister. So it's a tough one, but it has to be your decision. And as long as you finish what you start, and this is a caveat too, you will never finish what you start if you go to the business side of things. That will always be moving towards the executive branch, the most fake world, but still gives you the riches, so to speak. You know, but the military, at least at 4-year mark, you could get out after that, and that's going to be a net positive to everything else you do after that. It's going to allow you to mature. It's going to teach you responsibility. It's going to teach you teamwork. It's going to teach you sacrifice. It's going to teach you about you. University's not going to do that.
Well, whatever you choose or whatever you're called to, stick to it, finish it, and then work at it. You know, because just sticking to something will reap benefits later on.
It will. But the sad thing is, when people go to university, because it seems like an easy option, it's a lot easier to get into than some trades, and also military, fire brigade, police, etc. The damage behind it is you can end up with a HEX bill that could have you paying that off for over a decade.
Yes. Like I'm sure we all know a lot of professional students who do one thing, because sometimes I think folks go to uni because, one, they think it's expected, or two, they actually don't know what they want to do, and they end up doing useless courses that might get them a qualification, but there's not much employment benefit or chances at the end of that course. Or they'll change over and they'll do another course, and then they'll do this other course, and before you know it, they've been at uni for like 15 years with nothing to show for it.
Yeah, it's true. And we're going to see a little bit of that tomorrow when you see the video on No Safe Spaces. You will not believe one of the courses that is on the curriculum, and I think it's time that universities should be goddamn strangled for the bullshit that they're forcing down people's throats and making cookie cutter versions, of themselves or someone that will never be successful in this life, and reprogram them from being an ambitious individual to an activist to something that doesn't have a solution. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't believe it when I found that. So I had to bring it to you. So make sure you watch that No Safe Spaces if you want to see some strange and wonderful things and our opinions on them.
Yeah.
Look, Fugly's just made a really great point. Yep. He said his brother has a master's degree in architecture, is doing another bachelor's in robotics. What does he do for a living? He works for him as a labourer. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is it maybe won't bring home the bacon, and sometimes I think people just go to uni because they actually aren't sure what to do, and it can be an expensive waste of time.
Yeah, look, I used to be against the gap year big time. And I'm not talking about military gap year. I'm talking about when people used to take a gap year and going, because I thought, where'd you get your goddamn money from to be out of school as a child and then basically go travelling across the world where you're the dumbest you've ever been, most likely to do something stupid that's going to get you in a situation you'll never recover from in a foreign country with no insurance.
Yep.
But then I think to myself, well, look at the alternative, that we're trying to force young people to make a lifelong commitment,
Yep.
Based on something that they will be judged on for the rest of their life within their circles. Like it's a drag race to get to the finish line when there actually is no finish line anymore. You don't work for finances now. You work to sort of stay normal.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually changed my own opinion on that too. I actually think I'd rather young people take some time, work a job at Macca's or something, and just think about what they want to do for a year or so, than then commit to it. Because I think when you're young, you really don't know yourself well enough to know who you want to be in the future.
And there's the plus there. We've got people here who are tradesmen in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
We've got people who are businessmen in the chat, and we've got people that are soldiers in the chat.
Yep.
The one reoccurring thing that I hear from tradies is there is no good apprentices anymore. They're all shit. They don't want to be there. They're on their phone. They're trying to get out of there early. They're argumentative. They're hard to make them work, etc. I hear that from all of them, but at the same time, I also hear carpenters talking to them like they're shit too, and going, "Why do you think he doesn't want to be there?" So that's that one. Then there's the university where they're going, the first thing they tell you when you get out of university is forget everything you learn in university, despite the fact you've got a $50,000 HECS bill. And then you get to the military, where you get people turning up that have been told that they're psychologically good to go, physically good to go, mentally good to go. Okay, there you go. Kaz, not a bright one there.
Come on, man.
And they're also intellectually good to go, who fail within 48 hours of their dream job.
Yeah.
We've never seen so much failure so early in people's lives. And sometimes that might be because there's no dream building happening at school.
Yep.
Where we learn about money. We don't learn about money. We don't learn that you get rich by not spending money, not by how much you earn.
Yeah, exactly. We need some practical skills being taught. We need to be teaching young folk how to budget, not big scale economics. They just need to learn how to budget to pay their electricity and rent and collect a bond and things like that. I think we need some practical life skills being taught, and I think one of those life skills is, who do you want to be? You really do get to choose who you're going to be.
Yep.
You really are blessed to be living in this day and age, because you really do have more choice than ever before.
Ever before.
If you're in the lucky country, you've got more opportunities than anything.
Well, look at Prince Harry. He's choosing to pretend to be black. And he was a prince.
He's choosing to try and censor free speech, which I think is very foolish and nefarious. When you've got a Hollywood royal trying to tell people what they're allowed to say or not, I think that's dangerous.
He fell into the dickhead bush and got hit by every branch.
Maybe always in the dickhead bush, and just the royals protected him so we couldn't see it. Because I don't, maybe he always was.
Well, Mr. Bryce, look what's happened there. Who do you blame? Mr. Bryce.
Exactly.
He's got a soda stream and he got Pepsi syrup.
The kids bought a Pepsi syrup, not him. It wasn't him.
This is how I know times have changed, because in the first fleet that came to Australia, they actually found a ship where everyone had died, and the only thing that was left in the cargo was a perfect case of Pepsi.
That's funny. That is funny.
How you going there, moderators? Good to see you there, Mr. P. Hope you're doing well, mate. I think there's a shout out to you in the video that we're putting out tomorrow. We've got Jay Hayes, deliver horse jeers for a year, pays the bills, says Simon. Yeah. Simon says.
Exactly, it's good work if you can get it.
Simon, I won't say his last name, had a big interview today with the Brereton Report, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll talk about that offline, and hopefully represent it as well. Good luck to that man.
You told me about that, yes, so I hope that went really, really well. There's a question here from Tony, if you'd like it.
Yeah, throw it in.
If I went into the ADF via the Defence University Scholarship, do I get to choose what role I fill in the ADF?
Nope. That means you'd be going in as an officer. If you're talking about going in through ADFA, normally what they'll do is that would take you to RMC, where you're either going to do the ADFA degree, whichever one you're going in as, and then you'd go in and then finish off the last year in RMC, and they would decide off your efforts, your personality type, your leadership traits, lack of, or in abundance, and decide what corps you're suited for, and you won't have a choice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So think about it. It might still be for you.
Mr. Bryce, it's worrying, mate. He's saying that Prince Harry has no soul. He's a red-haired daywalker.
Happy. I happen to have a very soft spot for redheads.
Well, your son has red hair, but that's not our fault that his push bike has square wheels.
His father had red hair, and I chose him because it was one of his most endearing features. I actually really have a soft spot for redheads.
She hates an outdoors man, so she went with a red-haired indoors man.
Maybe I just like Vikings or something.
Jet was saying, what were your PB fitness stats when you were at your peak in the army, Kaz? That's not hard for me to say. As far as the BFA goes, I think 104 was my 2-minute push-ups, but I used to do that consistently. My chin-ups was 34. My dips was 43, I think it was. My 10-kilometre run was 36 minutes. My 5-kilometre run was 18 minutes 40. And my 2.4 was 8 minutes 42, I think it was, or 43. I would say I was very fit, but what it was my effort was just more than those around me. When we would finish something, I would be a wreck of a man a lot because I was just pushing harder with a smaller engine. So this is what I try to tell you, that you're born into a chassis that accepts you, and it determines whether you're going to coast on things or whether you're going to have to push harder like I had to. And I had an OCD to push harder because I weighed 58 kilograms. And so I had to prove that I will finish everything and that I can excel, and that you don't have to look in your rear vision mirror to see me because I'll be in front of you and I need to compensate for my lack of size. So, yeah. The chin-ups, I used to get a lot of people watching me. But I could also bench press nearly 120 kilos too. So it wasn't about just, oh, you were fast because you were small. I could bench press all right too. Jesse Bray. I used to manage all those kids fresh out of school. They hated working there, so I helped all 5 of them get into their dream careers. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, how's the ladies going, Jesse Bray? He's got his little newborn lady and his lovely wife.
Yeah. He wishes that he had Jesse's girl.
Yeah, he's got 2 lovely girls.
Where can he find a woman like that? He doesn't need to. They're in his house.
Exactly. Oh, thank you, Trey.
Hey, Trey Gowdy, my favourite politician. Hey, Kaz, tomorrow's coffee is on me. Have you spilt it? What are your thoughts on the current situation with the red corn chip and what could mean for the future? Well, I'll tell you what, Trey. I'm going to throw this one out there for you because this is what we've got today.
Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man. Thank you. I would have to say before Mr. T left office that we were looking straight down the barrel of potentially a hot conflict, but no one actually holding ground on either side. Now, I believe what we're seeing is the selling of the greatest superpower on Earth, and potentially they're getting in bed with the devil, where it may seem like we're back to calm for a little while, not in Australia, and then basically what will happen is the big red corn chip will get its way, and then we won't have any room to move left or right, unless the coalition of power says, I need a hero, and someone else steps up when Mr. T has now got a vacuum. But I still feel like there's something coming, and there's enough problems happening in the red corn chip that I don't know if they can even get out of their problem that they've created.
Yeah, they got a bit smashed by India again the other day.
Yeah, when you've got every country against you, and guess what happened? South Korea turned around and said to the B guy,
Yep.
said to the guy that said this,
We choose truth over facts.
said to him that we disregard what your policies are and we will still be going ahead with what the previous administration's goals were because they made sense, they were strong, they were getting results. So I strongly suggest, if you see us as your most powerful ally almost, that you continue that and don't listen to your base 100%. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's a lot of people putting a lot of pressure on him, and I don't think he's up to the task. Yep. It's scary.
Well, yeah, it is a little bit. So,
Mr.
another reason why to make sure you're cemented into a career and can get a job if you can get one.
I think one of the big fears is one of the easier fallback jobs was being a truck driver, and now the writing is definitely on the wall that that's going to be a redundant role in the very near future, with fleet management happening, and also the fact that they can bring out a cheaper chassis, over the long run, and a fleet-orientated vehicle that's going to have ways of travelling safer, quicker, and more economically, while also having a green imprint.
Yeah, well, it's at least going to change, isn't it? Better deliver that horse cheese while you can.
I think to myself, from the point of view, how would I have re-skilled myself if military hadn't have worked out? And I can't think of anything other than an entrepreneur, because I wouldn't have wanted to work for someone else unless it was something like a coffee shop to learn how to make the perfect brew, and then go on to doppelgang that or become an externality and use those skills to then open up something and become a coffee empire of my own.
Would you have even known that that's what you wanted to do, though, when you were young?
No, I would have been stuffed. Honestly, if I hadn't have got into the military, I would have been doing non-skilled labour somewhere, and by now, no disrespect, I would have had a morbidly obese partner, male or female, with 3 or 4 kids, and no hope of a future. I just would have slipped into probably what the rest of my mates did, that really didn't go anywhere or do anything.
Yeah, exactly. But if they're happy and they've got what they need, really good on them.
Mr. Bryce, do you reckon it's hammer time for the guy in the centre?
He reckons it's you.
When I was making this picture, Brycey and Jay, I thought to myself, what a masterpiece. I've made it so easy to look at this picture with 3 completely different avenues of life while I was photoshopping this. And it gives you a choice, a really definitive choice. You belong in one of those camps, but probably consider one of the other camps, so to speak. I'm not good with my hands as far as tradie goes. I watched the Goon Squad, and I have no idea how they managed to do everything so well.
Yeah, they work hard.
Yeah, they do. I definitely could never fit on the right-hand side with the executive branch or around university, because I will not be corralled on what I can and can't say, despite the fact that I was in the army and did exactly that for 24 years. But I was forgiven for my tongue on more than 1,000 occasions. Hey, Nitro, how you going, mate?
Yep.
Glycerine.
It's Fee. She's here. I was just thinking, which trade does mine fall into? Probably the tradie, more like, or...
Yeah. Well, that's heavy machinery. That's the way I'd see it. Can we get some likes up there if we can, team?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Not really the university bit, but then again, it's running a business as well, because most even tattoo artists are subcontractors. So
yeah, you just see a lot of people go to university too, and we used to see this at James Cook University, and when they originally go there and they want to do well naturally at their university degree, they get sidetracked and fatigued by the crappy job they have to pay the bills, and then they don't have the energy to do their study, and then they meet someone, and then before you know it, you've got a HECS bill, a shit job, and no future, and a broken relationship. All of that can happen really, really fast.
It can. It can. Yeah, so if you're going to do uni or something, make sure you've really thought about what you want to do. Make sure there's a job at the end of it.
Yeah.
Don't do it because you've seen something like you've watched a lot of CSI and you want to be able to study forensics and think you're going to walk in and get a job like that, because that's not quite how it works.
Yep, and look, Daz throws a really good, really good thing in there, that scaffolding.
Yep.
It's a good trade, and if you can work hard and you can work safely, you can make some massive money. But you also, and he'll tell you this, you need to be able to get along with others, because you can make enemies very, very quick in scaffolding. You can also be the guy that can't carry enough pieces, so to speak, and I dare say others could feel like you're not carrying your weight, so to speak. But there's a lot of roles there that you can do something, and the freedom that you could possibly get by not having to continue work up until 11 o'clock at night on a laptop, on a train, on a bus, etc., because you're not in the executive branch, you're a doer, and you deliberately keep your life simple. The reason why I always come back to the army is for a couple of reasons. One, the tradies I know never tend to really have that much of a life, because even when they get spare time, they work overtime.
Yeah, they work hard.
They work damn hard.
Yeah.
You know, and for all the money they've got, that you don't see them necessarily spending it, or when they do, it's a new car, new boat, all those things. But you never seem to see them in it.
Please. Yeah, exactly. You can make a fine living and get what you want out of it. I think they can have very fulfilling careers.
Well, we've got some very successful tradies in our chat, and
Yep,
you know, they'll admit how hard it is to get someone that you can trust to work below you. But I'm sure that if you can get someone that you put the time into, just like observing someone for their skill set, testing them, you want to get to the stage where you can say, so if I was to go away for 3 weeks, or I went to hospital, could I leave you the reins and you'd know what you're doing? Because you should actually always prepare them to be able to step up to the next role at any moment. And once you get that trust, and then you consider, maybe I could even expand, then maybe you might get to the stage where you come to work because that's your choice, and you're coming there as a supervisor, not a back-breaking labourer. And that gives you that chance to then suddenly one day go, you know what, I want to take the kids to school, you know, on these days of the week. I want to have some time off. You know, they're very, very hard workers. And the reason why I love the military is because even at 4 years, you're getting paid right from day one, and you're getting the food and accommodation. Everything you do, you're being taught something. But also during the work hours, you're doing your fitness. Also during the work hours, you're doing adventure. You know, it doesn't matter how much that guy gets paid as a lawyer. He's not going up in helicopters with his legs hanging out the window on the skids, doing fast roping, being on naval boats, you know, going into other countries with the passport saying travelling on government business, you know, travelling around the world, not just for free, but on time and a half, double pay, whatever you want to call it, operational bloody allowances. You know, giving yourself a chance to detox by going out bush for 12 days to Tully. You might get bloody a jihad sworn on your nuts by the mosquitoes, the Japanese encephalitis mosquito, but you're also not drinking for 2 weeks. And you're disengaging from social media, you're disengaging from electronics. You know, so you have these stories as a byproduct of just going to work. And the friendships are real. You don't tend to see tradies with a hell of a lot of mates that are there for a long time. They're work colleagues, but they don't hang out together.
Yeah, I have seen some that do, but not that. The military seems to be quite unique in the way it does. We kind of all, even families, all live together and in each other's pockets, which can actually cause problems as well. Kura brings up a good point. Would you be able to talk about trades in the military?
Okay, so when you think trades in the military, you're looking at either RAMI as a core, or you're looking at engineers. Now, when you actually go and do a trade, it's important to know it's not as simple as just to pass in year 10 in English and maths like it is for everyone else. There's an expectation you pass 4 subjects. Now, if you had a girl like Christy Steinem or Melanie Went or Fiona Panis, like this guy had, then you didn't do badly at school because you weren't smart, weren't intelligent. It might have been because you had elements of ADD. I'm not just talking about me, but sort of am. I see school not as an intelligence thing. It's a memory game. It's a babysitter's game. It's to keep you off the streets from causing shit. So by the time that you've actually got out of school, if you don't have those 4 subjects, then you're not allowed to do I don't even think there's a bridging course that allows you to then go over and become an apprentice, or go over and just go into engineers and then be boilermaker, carpenter, etc. But if you do pass, then you can go over there, go to the School of Engineers, which is in Steel Barracks in Sydney, and then from there you become an engineer by trade, but then you'll specialise into roles. Yep. And you're not going to get paid at trainee pay. You're going to get paid at full engineer pay, even in the first year of your trade.
Exactly. Now, and that just for the Army. The like Air Force and Navy also have trades and that as well, don't they?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. They've got some very exotic ones. You know?
Yeah. Say so.
Avionics engineer sounds great. If I was a girl and I said to someone, hey, what do you do for a job, mate? Because your looks might be just enough to swipe right on. Oh, I'm an avionics engineer. Oh, that man sounds like he could afford Cactus Jacks.
That's all us girls need.
Come on, man.
Jay, Callan, Lou, Steve-O, 343 is the 24 carat gold. It is, man. It is, honestly. And you know, it can sound a bit bigoted, but I'm telling you, when you go into the military, if you don't pick infantry, it's just not the same. It's almost infantry sometimes, and then it's almost whatever that is, almost that, but the pinnacle is infantry. The whole reason is we turn up and there's 30 of us waiting to turn up, do fitness, say good day, physicality, and we've got nothing to maintain. Our weapons in an armoury, all it is to train and prepare for the day that the glass gets smashed. So until then, it's a people game. It's a pecking order game. It's Lords of the Fly. It's adventure. And your maturity level between 19 and 24, that's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of, it's quite good because you're in the mix with older men too, who actually can help you develop that maturity.
Yeah.
And immaturity. Have you actually got a little bit of blunt advice for a new person in the chat?
Absolutely.
Okay, Steve Whisking says, hi guys, just found this forum last night. Love it, thank you. Welcome.
Good
We're
to have
glad
you.
you're here.
Thumbs up in the crowd for our new gentleman if we can.
Yeah, Steve Whisking. I just turned 34 and have attended 2 of 3 U sessions, failing to unlock the marks required for second commando.
Okay.
Is para-rigging or combat engineers fun?
I don't understand why you'd go for rigging. That is, you can't call it unskilled labour because if you do it wrong, someone falls for a long time before they hit the ground like bloody the coyote. But there's no pride in that. There's nothing cool in that. You're just fucking packing a bag for someone else to go and have fun with. That doesn't even make sense unless you're from Nowra and you've got a girl there or your family's there. Okay, so rigging. There's nothing exotic about it, mate. There's no reason why you can't go and do civilian jumping or free fall courses while you're in Townsville. So I do that so that I'm not actually getting yelled at. I'm not wearing a uniform. I'm doing that in my spare time when I want to do it, and I can pull away if I need to. The other one is, you didn't mention infantry, mate. You've gone for commandos twice. Why don't you just go for infantry, mate? Commandos are advanced infantry. That's what they are. If you go for infantry at 34, you sort of got some mould on the side of the bread there. I wouldn't wait any longer.
Yep.
But if you go to infantry, you might decide, holy shit, I dodged a bullet there by not trying to go to commandos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because there's a big difference between, like, commandos, like you've always said, is like infantry, and you always suggest people don't just go direct because it's, you know, usually better if they go through infantry, because they're competing against those people too, aren't they?
They
Who
are.
have experience of being in infantry. But it seems like a big jump between commandos and para-rigging and engineers. You know, I would have thought infantry would have been your next choice.
Yeah, the three choices don't seem aligned. It's
It's interesting. So if you could just give us a bit more on your thought process, that would help us. There is another new sub here,
Hey.
BBS. Hey chat, been watching for a while, but only subbed not long ago. Started my journey into the Defence Force last year, passed everything, and I'm off to Kapuka in March. Well, welcome and fantastic. We're really proud of you.
That's awesome, BB Ace. Make sure we get some thumbs down there for this young man. Make sure you go into the video that says when you're joining, because I see there you haven't put your actual name there, which is good. But put your date down in that video. So one, it's easier for me to find, put it in the book, but it's also easy for you to go and see who in that comment section has got something in common with you and is going to be there on the bus, as they would say in England, or bus in New Zealand. And you might very well find you go up to people going, in the trenches with Kaz, in the trench, and someone might say,
Come on, man.
or they might go, yeah, man, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Hashtag me too.
Yeah.
What is the net? Why do we do these videos, Lauren? Like tonight, what do you think is the nexus of why we're trying to do this?
I think you're informing people so that they can make an informed decision that might really have a massive impact on their life. We want all of you to succeed and live your best life possible. That's why I presume you're doing it.
Well said. Look at all these people putting 3 thumbs there. They know. Jerry. That's what I need there is one of my things. Newman. I want you to succeed. I genuinely want you to succeed. But most of all, I want you to start off on a lane that makes sense to you. That's not being pushed onto you. That you understand by looking at those 3 lanes. One of them in particular should go, that's the one. Automatically, that's the one. But then you bisect that if it's tradie and go, do I mean carpenter? Or do I mean boilermaker? Or do I mean mechanic? Which electrician? Which one is it? Or if it's a businessman, is it going to be an entrepreneur? Is it going to be a lawyer? Is it going to be fill in the blank? Is it military? Is it going to be Army, Air Force, Navy? If it's Army, is it going to be kinetic? Is it going to be combat? Or is it going to be support? Your job is to put your arms out. We put little leaves on there that start to make sense. Little leaflets of common sense and wisdom on there. And we're speaking to you. All we ask is that you have your ears open, mouth shut, and just look at those 3 guys there in an unromantic kind of way. And just ask yourself, ask your heart, which one do you want? Which one, if you got a industrial incident that meant no girl ever looked your way again, which one would still make you happy? And that sort of tells you which one you need. Yeah? And you can do multiple. You can be 34 years old and do a little bit of all 3. You can do a little bit of the executive of the advancement of your trade while being Army reservist.
Yep.
You know?
Yep, exactly. That actually takes me to another comment, but I don't know if I can find it now.
Oh.
It was one of our...
Put an X on it, then start digging.
Yeah, I should have actually kept it. Here it is. RB Iceberg, who's been around for a little while. Hey team, made the tough call today to cancel my full-time enlistment and go to reserve instead. Being 31 and having the chance to get a builder's license this year, it seemed like the smart move. Look, you do you, and you do what is best for you, and it's better you decided that now than later on.
Look, absolutely. And if I could build, and I'm even shit with Lego, although I can always find that lost piece with my bare foot. If I could build, I would. You know, you've got to this age. You know, you've probably had opportunities before, and because of relationships, because of employment, etc., it just has never gelled. It's never been perfect. Just like the same happens to an infantry soldier that wants to go to special forces, but he's never able to align timings, body, mind, administration, execution. So you don't have as much time in this life, and Jay can tell you about that. So can Mr. Bryce.
Yep.
You only have maximum 100 Australia Days in your life. You only have maximum 100 Christmases. You won't remember the first few, and you probably won't remember the last few. So take those ones off. Less than 100. And you're in control of the years that you do have. Maybe 4, 5, maybe 10 maximum, where you haven't got outside agencies influencing you, your time, what you can and can't do realistically. It's a weird one.
Yep. Spartan 117, you'll love that name.
I do. I always think of Halo.
Yeah, well, he's new here. Hey team, new here, and just wanted to say thanks, Kaz, and everyone on here. I've been binging the channel since I found it and have signed up. Well done. Congratulations.
You're a good man. Thank you, Spartan.
Yeah.
It's this is what it's all about. It's about replacing some of the normal, what do I say it? Your mainstream media, your mainstream TV, with something you can watch, you can look at and say, hey, Kaz, can you just do something on that? And we'll do that.
Yeah, and we've got a great community here too.
Excellent community.
And if you ask Kaz a question, he will give you an honest answer. And it's not to pee on your parade or anything like that. It is to help you. So, it's never meant to upset you or anything. It is just a guy with heaps of experience giving you the good oil. What you do with it is up to you. Steve Whisking has added, thanks for answering. I was only trying to go direct due to his vintage. I understand that.
Yeah.
Was told para-riggers are qualified jumpers and combat engineers are a good bunch. Infantry, I was told, was full and long list. So it sounds like he's trying to get in before he's any older, which I totally understand.
It all makes sense. Remember a lot of time with riggers, but that the parachute they're talking about, not so much for commandos, is a fast descent chute, which means no skill. It's attached to the line. You jump out. It's automatically pulled, low descent, hit the ground like someone getting hit by a car. A lot of injuries happen with that. You'd be working with commandos, packing their chutes, but big deal. You can afford to go and pay and do your Tropic Thunder jump ticket and be flying over the strand where the water's warmer, but don't get tentacles if you land in the water. And if you do, get some vinegar. Guys and gals, in case you don't know, it's so important that you listen to the sort of things that I say to you and the other veterans say there for a reason. The people that are recruiting, one, a lot of them have never been in the army. Almost none of them have actually been in a combat role or a combat corps, and they're trying to win. Statistics, quotas, political requirements of that job. And they're normally there because they're having a rest. You normally go to recruiting because you're not going to your school of excellence, i.e. the school of infantry, to be an instructor. Going to Kapuka to be an instructor of recruits. Instead, you go to Army Reserve Depot or you go to recruiting. Okay? And they're mixed in a very political bunch. So you're not going to get a straight answer necessarily. Kapuka doesn't teach you how to be a soldier. Well, it does, but it doesn't give you an understanding of what it's like to be in the army. The School of Infantry or the School of Signals or the School of Engineers or the School of Artillery or Transport doesn't teach you how to be in the army. All of these things are preparing you along the Panama gates of an education and specialisation between point A and point B. But when you get past point B and then it gives you another canal opening and then you get to the next level, level up, hallway 11. Eventually you end up turning up to someone like me. So I am where the gates stop and you get to the unit and there'll be 30 soldiers of differing ages and experience levels, operational levels, etc., different ranks, but I'm the platoon sergeant. and there's going to be a platoon commander who's normally nearly half my age. But that's fine. We're going to work like that. Synchronization, Bluetooth on. But I'm going to look in the eye when you turn up, and the first thing I'm going to look at is your hips wider than your shoulders. Do you look like you're fit? And I'm going to make an assumption straight up on the way you look. And then from there, I'm going to have a bit of a talk with you. And then from there, we'll determine, how do we deal with you for the first few weeks? How do we prepare you? Are you prepared? Are you very prepared? Or are you underprepared? And then we're going to look at administration. Do you have a partner? Do you have children? Do you have anything that can prevent you from going out on the very first trip? Not a bivouac. We're not cadets. And from there, I'll make a lot of assumptions on you very quickly and put you into a box, of supervision. What's this guy going to be like? And then you're given to a section. So the person that you need to impress the most is going to be the section commander, but I'll be looking from a distance too. And I'll be watching you. And we're a lot less lenient than what they are at Kapuka and what they are at the School of Infantry if you turn up unprepared or with an attitude that sucks. You might get away with another cause, but you won't get away with an infantry. Okay?
That sounds good.
That's why it's important that I tell you that now. So that you're training for the day you meet the sergeant and the section commander, not for Kapuka, not for Singleton. And there's no mysteries. We'll tell you exactly what you need to know, but we just need your ears to be open. That's all. Marcus,
Exactly.
I see you there. I see Marcus.
Say his last name.
Say his last name. Oh, say my name.
Yeah.
Crossomanidis, Didius?
Grossomanidis, I think it is.
Grossomanidis.
Okay, young Connor Dwyer says he goes back to Singo this Sunday on the 31st, and he's that keen.
I hope you've been training.
Yeah, he's very keen. Hope you haven't just been in Pavlova.
Don't pull that fat cord.
Yeah.
And you're going to do a fitness test, and they're going to make you smoke the whole bag.
The whole bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is 343 the same designation as reserve? No. And do you get a Skippy badge? No, you don't. You only get a Skippy badge for being in the Royal Australian Regiment, which is why there's some friction sometimes when people have come from the Army Reserve and then come over and they get a Skippy badge. It's believed you haven't earned it. You haven't come and done the 13 weeks, which has the highest failure rate out of IETs for all corps, except I think maybe electronic warfare, which is less, but percentage-wise might be more. With the Army Reserve, you will get your badge, a hat badge that is attached to the history of our regiments back before the Royal Australian Regiment got its prefix Royal in 1949. Okay, so yeah, you've got to go through Singo to get the Skippy badge, which is the reason why we got angry when we saw that certain quotas in some ways are getting passed through without actually completing it at the level that used to earn the Skippy badge. Because the assumption is if you have the Skippy badge on, then you've passed everything that I've passed, so who am I to judge you? Yep.
Fair enough. PK is here. It's always nice to see PK.
He's my favourite chewy.
I prefer a juicy fruit myself.
Do you know what I prefer?
What?
We choose truth over facts.
We choose truth over facts. Guess who else is here? Dave D. Stand fast. Reserve infantry is ECN 343, but it maybe shouldn't be. I didn't think it was 343. There you go. I'm corrected. It is. There you go. 343. Well done.
But even Dave thinks maybe it's a stretch.
Look, I don't think it's bad being in. We're going to do another video soon. This will be a very interesting one. If you can, team, throw the likes out there. If you don't, then press the down thumb. And we're going to talk about conscription. Because I see Army Reserve is our B team, sure. They know their B team as well.
Yep.
But if conscription occurred, do people realise that almost everyone in chat will be in a uniform? And you don't get a choice. You go to jail if you don't. You know, we had, how many? Over 400,000 men in World War One were in the Australian Army. And that was without conscription. That was all volunteers. If something happened now, and like France in WW1, they said you no longer have any jobs, there's only essential service, your new job is to wear this uniform, they'd have to do a BMI test on many to determine where they're going to fit in. But we could mobilise 2, 3, 4 million soldiers overnight. It wouldn't be the fittest looking army that we normally used to. But don't think for a second your job can't disappear like a sailor in a cupboard. And you can be re-rolled. And that goes for your kids as well.
Yeah.
It can happen real quick. Yeah. And guess what? You don't get a choice. It's not something you vote on.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But do know it's unpopular with the citizens of Australia, and if someone tried to do it, a politician tried to do it for no good reason, we would kick up a stink, don't you worry.
There'd be a reason. It has to be an emergency of your own borders, and then the expectation is that there should be every single person should be going, yep, throw me a fork or something sharp, I'll do it. Some of my cooking. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. I actually have a couple of questions if you've got time.
Yeah, go.
Okay. Dino one has asked, are we ever going to look to recruit warriors again, or is it more going to be technical?
We've never done that. There's a difference between soldiers and warriors. A warrior is someone who is individual prowess, but is picked off easily by soldiers. What I'd recommend, you can be a warrior and a soldier, and we normally call them commandos, SASR, etc. Those special sheepdog that stand amongst us, that do more and more and more, and are the athletes amongst the athletes, those that stand out, that are always after more. They have those. But when you watch what happens between warriors and soldiers, warriors don't win. They get beaten. Spartans, were unable to hold their empire. Celts, Germanians, they all lose against Rome.
Yeah, it's an organised professional military.
Well, a warrior's only as effective as what their cardio level is, and once that's run out, there's nothing else. With the others fight as a formation, as a drill. That's like you could take on. Let's say this one. What do you reckon, Jay, about this? I could get a bunch of country boys to go and play 15 minutes of rugby league against an A-grade team. And I could grab a team that could absolutely keep Parramatta, Penrith, the Broncos at bay for 15 minutes and maybe even score against them. You take that to 40 minutes a half, there is no way they are going to beat an elite team, the A-grade team. But they can make it very competitive at the start. There's a reason why Djokovic and Nadal and Federer win their games. They beat the warriors. They beat the enthusiasm. They beat the fitness, and they beat it with technique, skills.
Exactly. You might be keen as mustard, but if you don't know how to play chess, a professional chess player is going to wipe the board with you. Yeah.
Accumulative strength and consistency of effectiveness and capability, will beat 100 people that fight as individuals in a group.
Yeah. I've got another question.
Yeah.
Tony has asked, are there any combat roles in the Navy? Only thing I can think of are the clearance divers. Well, they do it differently, don't they? They do see action, but it's very different than, say, the Army, right? Because I think even their QMGs, their quartermaster gunners, they have big guns and they board ships of, illegal people and things like that. So it depends what you mean by combat role, I suppose.
We don't have Marines as such in our in our military. But what we do is our infantry used to go onto those ships and would be the Marines, for example. And we can do. We can do naval, we can also do aviation, we can do motorised, we can do mechanised, we can do light. But the way I would say it is when you look at a Navy fleet, there are support ships and there is combat ships. There is fighting vessels. So I would consider everyone on that fighting vessel is your combat vessel, so to speak. They might not be the physical embodiment of what you'd expect to see from infantry soldiers, but they're part of a capability-driven team,
Exactly.
which may be made up of 68 individuals that all have completely different skilled roles, but also have all the skills of a general service sailor. But they choose to go into a combat vessel rather than a support vessel. So that's what I'd imagine. And my encouragement always goes out there to be on a combat vessel than what it does a support vessel.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shame Mr. Gray isn't here. He would be able to give you a really good idea. He's our kind of Navy rep when he's here.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe come back to some other streams and he can probably give you an even better answer.
Yep.
He's just not here today. He must be busy.
Have we got JJ here?
He was here earlier before we started. I don't know if he's still here. I haven't seen him.
I guess who we have got here?
Who?
We've got Dave Penson from Vietnam.
Yeah. And
It's
he makes a good point.
It's hard enough training a person that wants to join the army, let alone trying to train someone that does not want to be in the defence. It's not that big. But this is the thing, Dave. You know, XY1, you don't get a choice when you are girt by sea, but your own borders are threatened. You know,
Exactly.
you don't have a choice anymore. That means someone's actually trying to come into your house. You know.
But well, let's hope it's that. You know, but what he says is true. That it would be more difficult to train someone who doesn't want to be there, let alone someone who does.
Do you know the flip side of that?
What's that?
Australia is one of those countries that when US people come here, if you look around the street, you might go, oh, yeah, you know what? Australians are nowhere near as patriotic as the flag-waving Americans. If you honestly believe that, tell Australians that when they're in a pub. Have a look at the stands at any sporting event and see how patriotic they are. And there is a shitload of men and women within Australia that have absolutely no interest at all of being in the Army, Air Force or Navy.
Yep.
But, and I'll throw the but out there and I underline it and put it in a dark font of bold, that if our soil was in danger, they would step up instantly and you'd see some of the best soldiers
Absolutely you would.
overnight and you'd be, holy shit. You know, you don't want to stuff with these guys. And that's because they already had a calling in life. And that was to be a good father. That was to be the best truck driver. That was to be the best dentist.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
you'll hear me say words like, there's two ways I can get through to you: inspiration and desperation. Inspiration means I'm normally on the journey with you and I'm keeping you excited about the journey and the fact that I am synced with your dream. Desperation is when we let you know you are not up to scratch yet, son. And you've got a very definitive amount of time, less than a Conor McGregor fight camp, to prepare for what is going to be inevitable. And you're going to get found out real quick if you don't start prioritising your training, okay, over taking it easy, because I'm telling you from the horse's mouth, this is the expectation of you once you can't back out. So we had a gentleman a couple of days ago, and it was a really hard one because he rang me up on the bat phone, said phone, and basically he said, Kaz, can you be straight with me? This is my medical condition. You know, the doctor said go away and try again with his appeal. And he said, but he had a bad feeling about himself, about his condition. And he said, Kaz, honestly, do you think I've got a chance of getting in? And when he told me what it was, I had to let him know, absolutely, you have no chance at all of getting in. And he'd just been given the soft letdown, I believe, that was wasting his time by recruiting. It was really hard because he sounded very mature, you know, but he understood that he was getting led down the garden path.
But that's part of actually helping people, is be the one to tell them the difficult things sometimes.
Yep.
You know, because you could, you know, look at Australian Idol. Heaps of people must be telling those people that they can sing, and some of them just can't. And they go there thinking they can sing and they can't. Nicole King's off. Bye.
Left-hand salute, no hat on. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great weekend, Nicole.
And, Chongo had a question.
Yeah, go.
He said, Cass, what's your thoughts on joining infantry in your late 30s?
Army Reserve, I'd say yeah. I'd say regular army, not at all. You know, and as a platoon sergeant, I wouldn't want a 38-year-old coming into the call sign either, to be honest with you, mate. But what I would say is there's some spectacular, if you went for regular army, there's still some excellent roles that'd be very well suited for that age. And that would be intelligence corps. You've got a life of wisdom. I'd say signals corps, which is technical, small team orientated, right? It's essential. You know, engineers, you might still have a crack at engineers. I don't know what your physicality is. I don't know what your maturity level is. I don't know what your family situation is. But you've left it fairly late. Army Reserve, absolutely, you could go in there. You could go and be a Cav Scout as well. And that could be scratching your back while you're doing whatever you're doing in your civilian life. And you can put the pedal down as hard as you want or lift it off so that you get the immersion, okay, without the responsibility.
Yep, fair enough. David Penson said he was talking about the Defence Force Correction Establishment with the DFCE.
DFCE, the jail, yeah.
That would be full.
That would be full.
I think there would be problems like that, but I think,
they'd probably use the civilian jails.
Yeah, probably.
And I would have it. I would have, honestly, if someone, when our own shores were in danger, if they refused to serve, depending on what reason they'd have, I'd have an existential hatred for them. If you won't even defend your own house, if you won't defend your own country. Yep.
Daz has a great question.
Yeah.
If there was a national conscription, would a bloke still have an option on choosing a role to fill, example, sniper or Overwatch?
That is already part of infantry, mate. Daz. So if you said, I'll join up, but not as conscription, I'll actually volunteer, because that would be the first wave, would be volunteers first. Yeah. And a police officer wouldn't be allowed to volunteer. They'd be told, no, you can be Army Reserve, but you can't join. If you're in the fire brigade, you can join, you can't join. You're in essential service. You might be the last people left.
Because we need to keep the home fires burning too.
I like the pun there.
Yeah.
With the firemen.
No, it's true.
But Daz, if you said you want to volunteer and you want to go to infantry, they'd be going toot sweet, mate. By all means, come on in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'd say volunteer before you get pressed in. Pressar has said, is it odd to have preferences in different corps?
No.
I have my CC interview next Friday and want to know if it's bizarre to want to be 1st Infantry and 2nd Airfield Defence Guard.
That's different, because that's two services.
Yeah, that's a little bit
and
different.
Air Defence Guard has got nothing in common pretty much with infantry. Air Defence Guards are securities for a vital asset, and they have an area of operations they don't step out of. They don't seek out the bad guy. They're a security guard.
Yeah.
Infantry seek out, and they close with the enemy. They kill, catch him, seize and hold, ground, repel, attack by day or night, regardless of season, weather, terrain. They're the opposite.
Some people will tell you Airfield Defence Guard is the same as infantry, but they're really not.
Yeah. Say it an infantry boozer, and then you won't get aggression, but you'll think you're a comedian for a couple of seconds.
Exactly. There will be a lot of laughter. So I think it's probably, and to me, if I was the recruiter, it might even look like you were a bit undecided. About which service you want to choose.
Hey, can I retract something for a second? Not retract, but just point out to you too that there's nothing wrong with being an Aggie. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
but just don't get it mixed up with being infantry, because if you go and become an Aggie, that's just another role within the Air Force.
Exactly. Two different jobs, all important. Look, we've got a big war machine and we need all the parts to keep it moving.
Hey, we've got a Spartan.
Yeah. Calamari's.
Now I'm, what do you call it? Now I'm conflicted. I've now got a Spartan in the Roman Legion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crept over the wire. I just had an Adgie creep into the battalion.
Yeah.
Good on you, Spartan. Good to have you here, mate. Fantastic. Can you hold your shield up? Can we get some likes if we can, but also get some thumbs up down there to make Spartan feel welcome? I already know how many hands are going to go up in the air from Carl P. Don't lose your footing.
It's another Kraken, 2 in a row.
It is too. Hey, Tony. Anthony. Now, that's a good Roman name.
It's a great name.
It is a great name. No, he's been here for a while. How come that's come up? Because he's already got his Lance Corporal stripe.
Maybe he just...
Reinstated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good to have you here, Tony. Great to have you here. If we can get some thumbs up for Tony. If you don't, you're an Adgie. All right?
Hey.
Team. What's going on this weekend anyway? Has anyone got anything magic? Is anyone that needs someone called out? Simon, how is the horse sperm racket going, mate?
Come on, Kaz. Use its professional term. It's the horse jizz service.
The horse jizz smuggler. You've got to keep it at mouth temperature.
Oh, good heavens. You've gone too far there.
Too far down.
Yeah, hey. Come on now.
Van Wilder started this shit.
Yeah, my plans for the weekend, I was just going to do the third instalment of that drawing I was doing for a video tomorrow. Then I thought I might potter around in my garden.
Rose garden. I just had a comment come up there. How likely you'll get posted after training at Kapuka? Well, that's 100% if you pass. Because you don't stay at Kapuka. You know, the byproduct of passing Kapuka is you go to your allocated corps. Now, the difference is when I joined, enlisted, oath of affirmation, was that you actually didn't know what corps you were going to until you finished Kapuka. And if they didn't like you, they could give you a role you didn't want, you know, just to get at you. And you'll know you're going there now for 4 years. Or sometimes they would send you someone to a support role, or they would send someone who wanted to go to a support role and they'd send them to a combat role and send them to infantry. And that was cruel. But they used to do it. K Duff. What a sentence to tune into.
Tune into. You're welcome for the quality content. Young Ruben has a question.
Yes.
Is there any jobs in the army that involve riding motorbikes or dirt bikes?
Funny enough, there is. MPs and engineers and transport.
That always makes me think of that film. What was it? Was Steve McQueen? What was that one?
The Great Escape.
Yeah, that one.
Dun, 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 dun. No, that was Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I know what you mean.
Steve McQueen. Geez, he was a man.
He was.
Yeah.
He was. Indeed.
He was a real man. That guy didn't eat salad. Ever.
No, why would he? He didn't need it.
Someone's talking about Seppi. That's 1st Battalion's mascot.
Yeah, they're talking about Simon's job.
Matt Borrell. Borrell Gases. Megaforce. Enlistment date, Kaz. My enlistment date was the 4th of July, 1991. But I don't ever add it to it, but I also did 2.5 years of Army Reserve before that. I joined at a good time, very tough time. It actually felt like you were going to Oz, for those that have seen the jail show. But you know what? I didn't end up acting the way I was treated, so to speak. You know, and I don't expect people that have had a tough time to use as an excuse to treat others badly. We got treated badly, but we ended up being passionate, but we also showed leadership, and we nurtured those soldiers that worked for us. And I like to think we're a pleasure to work with. Yeah.
Here's a question. Michael Wen has said, I'm applying for the Army Reserves next month. If I get an enlistment date on a date I'm unavailable on, will I be able to postpone it, and how long will I be able to postpone it for?
Look, this is what I do. The answer is yes, but it'll look like you're unprepared or not a good participant or someone to bet on if you tell them at the last second. If you tell them, hey, the date you've given me absolutely does not sync with the date that I can do, but this is some dates I can do, or throw me some other dates and I'll tell you, they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think, don't they have some, don't they get employers on board and that though, so that there's like incentive for them?
What happens with the Army Reserve is what they can do as part of their arts, their Army Reserve training salaries. What they can do is, if it is required for you to be at a location, which is within their specifications of a Tuesday and not one Tuesday or Wednesday a week, one weekend a month, a 2-week block a year, or whether it be Kapuka, whether it be the equivalent of Singleton, etc., then your actual employee will be compensated and paid for the government, or if it's your business, you will be compensated and paid in your civilian business, as well as the Army Reserve money, untaxed, baby. And yeah, so have a good reason, tell them well in advance, and they'll talk that out with you, and they'll have a back and forth, a transactional situation that should work for all.
Right, fair enough. Daz has asked, Kaz, did you get any badges or mementos from reserves?
No.
What, like Boy Scouts?
Oh, I got I did get Soldier of the Year. In Signals Corps. What else did I get? I got treated like shit for a lot of it. You know, that's okay. That's okay. No, I don't. I've never been much of a memorabilia guy, mate. You know, even my pack was called the Abomination because I didn't spend any time on it. I just picked it up, carried it. It was often sideways on my back, and I finished everything I started.
Yeah. Yep. Steve Whisking, our new guy, is going. So good night, Steve. Glad
See you, mate. Great to have you here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you check out this video tomorrow, because as an offshoot of what we do here, it's important we don't just talk about military, despite the fact that part of it tomorrow is about military. But what it is the No Safe Spaces, which is a series between myself, Ed B, and Lauren, where we talk through a Zoom call on 3 subjects per episode that allows you, one, to have transparency on a subject, but also get to see the back and forth, and we don't always agree with each other, on the said series. It's fun, isn't it, Lauren?
It is fun. I love it. It's great.
It is.
Jess Marks is here. He's a bit late. Hello, Jess.
Jess, how you going, mate?
Come on, man.
I saw a question. Where was it? Spartan117, our new member, said, because I'm joining as reserve and having my aptitude results back, and I'm having trouble deciding between officer and infantry. Also, how hard is it to cross over to full-time?
It is hard to cross over to full-time. And normally when you go into the Army Reserve, that is when they're going to ask you the questions, why Army Reserve and why not regular? Why a partial commitment as opposed to full commitment to a career? That's not hard to answer, or it shouldn't be hard to answer. There should be a reason why. You know, because Army Reserve is not where you go to for a try before you buy. Army Reserve is there because you have certain circumstances, whether it be family, profession, age, you know, or a requirement to go to a certain corps, you know, for some reason, and that's why you go Army Reserve. So when you go there, the crossover can occur. I'd worry about that when it happens. When it comes between being an officer and an NCO, that's a tough one. And as we know, and Dave knows, one of the hardest things is when you're only treated for the first modules as basically a private soldier. So when you go away and you do your Kapuka, when you do that module, you have the option to come back and then go, you know what? I don't want to be an officer anymore because now I'm a qualified all-corps Army Reserve soldier. So why do I want to continue on courses for the next 18 months when I'm already ready now to go and do the fun shit and get on the weapons? Why don't I just do that instead? So one of the hardest things for Army Reserve is for them to retain their officers, to do those extra courses, etc. When they could just be playing with the toys now and be non-political. So that's all going to come down to you. They'll talk to you about that.
Yep. Okay. Dave Penson has to go. He's got to go pray at an older uncle's house as he passed on last night. Sorry to hear about that. Good night, David.
I'm sorry, Dave, mate. And all I do is look at things on Vietnam at the moment. And I know you're over there. I know there's no cars in your street. I know you live in the dream, but that's some really sad news, mate. And thanks for your service, and it's great to have you here, mate. Look after your family.
Yeah. Mucho respecto, if anyone deserved it.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Dave is a former WO1, which is the highest rank you can achieve in the Australian Army. He left the military, went over to Vietnam. I believe that he's married to a young woman over there. When I say young, I say about all women. I don't mean something inappropriate. And he lives over in the land of few rules, over in Vietnam, and common sense, in a street where a car couldn't get down, and I don't believe many of them speak English either. So he's living the dream over there.
That's paradise to me.
Yeah.
I would love it heaps.
It would be to a lot.
Okay, John Zanuck has asked if you're an NCO in the reserves and join the regs, you'll be demoted. Oh, he obviously knows what he's talking about.
That is true. That is true, and it's fair enough too. Yeah.
I saw a question from Fiona. Now I've lost it. Oh, she wants to know how long between PFA and enlistment.
That should be between 2 weeks and 4 weeks, and by rights it should not ever be more than 2 weeks, but it will be, unless you are locked in to a date already. But normally, Fiona, between 2 weeks and 4 weeks, and if it goes out past 4 weeks, what they'll do is they'll bring you back in and do another PFA, and they will continue that process until it's time for you to go in.
Yeah, it can vary though, can't it? It seems to be different for almost everybody.
Look, if the pain still persists, just sue your family doctor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Take 2 Nurofen and call them in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. Have you got anything else to say?
We've got 8 minutes to go. What I'd say to people is, we'll go back to this before you make the leap like it is on there. Like anything in life, there's only a certain amount of lanes that you have the option to go down. And some of those lanes are thick, some of them are thin. But if you follow your dream and you have inspiration and you have living life and it seems logical, to you, you're going to get a hell of a lot out of this life rather than just follow potentially finances, especially if you don't have monetary finesse.
Yeah.
So retirement, take that off the table. You're not going to retire. There's no reason to retire. You may not realise that good-looking tennis player, what's his name? Big fella. Not Leighton Hewitt, I said big fella. Oh, what was his name? Pat Rafter.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was well over 10 years ago. I watched a video on him, and they said, the young lass, through her winking eyes at him, was like, "Oh, it must be so amazing to be retired so young." And he said, "No, it sucks." And she was sort of thrown back, and she was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" He's going, "Oh, my friends aren't retired."
Exactly.
I sit around trying to do stuff each day, recreate my day, and wait for my friends to get off work. And the people that don't have money, are they here for the right reason? And it's just a really, it was almost sad, the cost of success at times.
Exactly, it is.
Yeah.
Got time for one more question?
Yeah.
Prasad, we were talking before about him not being quite decided. How can I sound not undecided to my CC as to the service I want? I'm generally passionate about joining both infantry and AGI. How do I address it so as not to sound ill-prepared or haven't researched? I'd say if you have researched both, you'll be able to answer what they ask about it, if they ask about it.
And
You know,
I can give him a textbook answer if he wants.
yeah, go for it.
I'd simply come in and say, I understand when I came here that the requirement was that I'd done my research before I came in and saw you, and I've done just that. And what I've narrowed it down to is several roles that really stuck out to me, but the complexity of it is, and then you tell them like the 8 Mile way of handling things. You tell them the elephant in the room, so to speak, where they're going, this guy just chose 2 completely different roles that sound almost similar from 2 different services, so you let them know.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, so in my research, the 2 things that actually popped out to me for separate reasons was infantry, naturally, because when I think of an Australian soldier, when I think of World War One, World War Two, Korea, or Vietnam, or Afghanistan or Iraq, and I think of infantry, that's what I think of. But alternately, I don't mind the idea of some of the posting locations and also the expectations of being an AGI within the Air Force. I'd find that equally rewarding as well. And you know what? At the end of the day, if I got posted to Williamtown besides Stockton Beach, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
And they'd go, this guy knows that they're separate entities. He knows that they're separate professions. He knows there's separate services. As a matter of fact, this guy looks like he's going to be an asset no matter who he goes to.
Exactly. So I think, it's okay to be outside the box as long as you can, explain why you're doing the things you're doing.
Yeah.
Do you need to ring your little darling?
I do, but we're out of here in 3 minutes 50.
Okay. There was one more question if you want it.
You just throw it at me like it was a cheesecake.
Yeah, okay, I will. M. Kennard has asked thoughts on artillery observers.
Okay, after speaking to an artillery observer today, what I can confirm to you, if you're going to be an artillery observer, your action is beside armoured corps and infantry. That is who your brothers are going to be, especially if you get posted to Townsville, not to Darwin. In Darwin, it sounds like they've dropped the ball and their artillery observers spend all their time administered by artillery, which is not where they belong. They belong with the people that they're going to be roaming the battlefields with, and that is cavalry, okay, or it's with the infantry. Mechanised, motorised, doesn't matter. So if you go to Townsville, where Cactus Jack's is, where cheap as shit, beautiful real estate is, you go there, you'll actually probably be billeted with the units, the infantry units, that you'll be assisting in a field environment as part of the battle groups. So if you get in, it's a fantastic role. We need you on that wall. Your job is actually as a SIG. Okay? So be careful you don't church it up. Your job is to carry the radio. You're going to be normally in a team of 3 or 4, normally with a captain and a section commander and a private soldier, a gunner. And, okay, the section commander will be a bombardier. That always sounds like a turd to me, or a ristle.
I thought you would say cheap women.
No, not at all. No cheap women. They all cost a fortune in the end.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's a great role, but if you're going to do it, get posted to Townsville, please, mate. To get the best experience. Yeah. Yeah. And you'll travel with the platoon sergeant, platoon commander, posturing off them. Okay? And you'll be an additional rear link communications, with the guns net. But you can call in everything. You can call in fast air. You can call in mortars. You can call in DFSW. You can call in fast air, naval gunfire. You won't, because that's all conventional sort of warfare. But that's what your role is. Brownsville, very true. Kojak, nice haircut.
Yeah. Oh, my chat's going stupid, Jay. There's nothing I can do. I don't know what's happening there. My chat is glitching out tonight.
Is it?
Yeah, it is for me, and it was for Steve before. Sorry, I didn't mean to. my internet, I think I lost a bit of a connection for a minute, and it posted a couple of my messages a couple of times. Sorry.
Davo was saying that Davo's representing 1 Brigade there, saying they utilise their JFT. Excellent.
Yeah.
Righto. Awesome. Great to hear. I've heard different. Okay. I'm glad that you're making me feel a little bit better about it, mate. But from someone that was working with you, in your role, they said it sucked, and that they wish they'd been in Townsville so they could be incorporated in the environment they'd be working with. So that's good if they've changed, mate, and that's great to hear.
Yeah. You know a great thing about Townsville?
What's that?
Is the smell of the Ross River on a really hot day.
That's where I put all my mother-in-laws.
It's the only river I've ever smelt that smells like butterscotch some days.
Yeah, Townsville, you can taste the ceiling.
Yeah. Good night, drunk Aussie. He's out of here.
See you, mate.
Yeah, say good day to your missus for us. Now we know you've got one, and we know her name.
That's right. We know who she is. So what do we got? We got okay. This is going to be the close off. So team, basically in summary, I see you there, lurker. Not very good at lurking, is he? It's like an unwanted pregnancy. You can go, I can see you there.
He's so cheeky. He's still dirty about the time I told him to go do a wee, and then I didn't do a wee. It's a big thing. Don't worry about it.
Steve-O was asking, does infantry call in airstrikes? Absolutely. Or is that SF? Infantry can do it. SF can do it. JFTs can do it. There's a lot of people that can do it. As a matter of fact, anyone can do it that's in infantry. We all get taught to do it. It's just there's differing degrees of not just professionalism, but effectiveness and how long it takes. Yep. Because remember, when you talk to fast air, you have a normal conversation. There is no raytel. You just talk to them. Make it as simple as possible, like you're talking to them on the phone.
And it's been vital in recent arenas, hasn't it?
Save your asses. Yep.
Totally vital to do that.
Yep, absolutely. We need them on that wall. We definitely do.
Yeah, sure.
So, in summary, Lauren, before the videos that come out tomorrow and the next day, because we're putting 2 out in a row this weekend, what I'd like to say is the oyster is... What is it? What's the saying?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Life is your oyster.
Oh, the world is your oyster.
The world is your oyster. Exactly. You make the decisions, but you also take the responsibility for finishing what you start. So make sure what you start is worth the rub, is worth the finish, is worth the time, is going to take you somewhere or prepare you for the next logical step. You should be able to explain to people why you're doing it, what you get out of it, and because it will also sort of tell people who and what you are. It tends to define you. Okay, if you're a lawyer, I wouldn't expect to have too many friends, except when people are in trouble, drink driving, etc.
And then are they really friends?
I don't know. Who would do that job? Don't drink from the chalice. If it seems too easy, just don't drink from it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't compromise just for the bucks.
Earn your daily bread.
Yeah, you have to live life as well.
And men should have calluses on their hands. And I don't mean from their iPads.
Yes, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. The harder you work, the more you'll enjoy your food.
Yeah.
Okay. You want your dad to be able to look at you and shake his head with respect, and you want people to go, oh, really? Is that your role? Whether that be a builder, whether that be a soldier, or whether that be a police officer, detective, whatever it is, or whether it be a miner. There is so many jobs out there just waiting for you. But you have to go get it, and you have to be prepared to move from where you live.
Don't quit. Keep going.
Never quit.
Make a serious decision. Think about it. Consider it. And then follow through.
Coach 87, he knows what he's talking about.
He does.
Calluses on both hands and 1 foot, says Dave.
Yep. Jesse Bray, you should throw that question to Stoddy. Would be great to answer that. I think he's in chat still, if he is. He was just before.
Stoddy's a good bloke. We just tend not to tell him.
Yeah, we try not to.
Not all wish me luck on my wedding tomorrow. What the hell?
What?
Tyson.
I would have mentioned that before. Don't say R.I.P. Jesse.
Let's talk for another couple of minutes. Tyson goes to jail tomorrow.
Congratulations, Tyson. What the heck? You should have mentioned that.
Okay, Tyson, a few questions. What choice of ring did you put on her finger? Was it a calamari or a burger ring?
Oh, come on.
Is she going to take on your surname?
Yeah.
Are you going on a honeymoon? If so, are you wearing masks? COVID?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Questions. What's your venue like, and has the pandemic changed your plans and that? Big wedding, little wedding?
It's how they met. She had COVID.
Oh, come on now.
Tyson, what's your lady's name, mate?
Yeah, come on, Tyson. This is like tea. We need the details.
Another one bites the dust.
Getting fitted with a handbrake, Simon Powell said.
There we go.
Come on, man.
Come on, we are really actually.
We
happy
choose
for you,
truth
Tyson.
over
it's
facts.
Like a huge momentous
Come on,
thing in
man.
your life.
Tyson getting fitted a handbrake.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, mate, all the best to you and your family, mate. This might be the very last time that you actually get to sink the hole in one, so to speak. And just make sure that the wedding cake's a cupcake, because we know ladies are allergic to them,
Well, mine and JP's wedding cake was like a tower of cupcakes because he used to call me Cupcake.
Well, I've seen so many ladies have that one piece of cake and then I can't recognise them 6 years later.
I'm not really a cake lover, but congratulations, Tyson. That is, fantastic. Grace Powell, and she will be so it'll be Grace Walker after tomorrow. Congratulations to Tyson and Grace.
Tyson, mate, that is awesome.
It is
I tell you what, let's do something about this one.
Let's do it.
Tyson. I can already hear Fugly making a meme about this.
Oh, yeah, if Fugly was here, he'd be...
So we've got Tyson Walker marrying versus, what's his lovely lady's name?
Grace Powell.
What a beautiful name.
Yeah, isn't it? Lovely name.
Sister of Simon. Grace is also, mate, don't change your first name, Amazing Grace, because Grace is also the name of one of the little girls that lost a life that I looked after overseas.
Grace is a beautiful name.
It is a beautiful name, mate. And you know what? The fact that she's taken on your name as well, that sort of passes a lot of the attitude test, it's for the right reason. And the tradition is a beautiful thing. And you know what? It should come down to who had the best dad. If her dad's cooler than your dad, then you change your name to hers or whatever it is.
Exactly. Just become one.
I think it's beautiful. Good on you, mate. Can we get some thumbs up for the poor bastard, Tyson Walker? What are you doing on here the night before your wedding?
Yeah, I know. Are we your buck night?
It is.
I think that's great.
Well done, Tyson. Have a great day tomorrow. Says Dave the Condemned, who lives on Base Camp Everest.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we get 3 thumbs in a row for Tyson, please? You're right.
Stop it. Simon, there you go. Can we get the 3 thumbs? There he is. Yeah, so he supports his sister marrying Tyson.
Yeah.
You know what happens if it doesn't work out?
What?
Tyson Walker becomes a runner.
Yeah. Running from the horse jizz.
That was a okay. That one was Dad's joke, but
I didn't get it.
His last name is Walker. He becomes a runner.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, that was a good one.
She's just a girl. Okay, guys, with that, I can't lead off anything better than that, leaving us with this is his Bucks night. Fantastic. Tyson, I need to get in touch with what your address is, mate.
Yeah.
We need to get that off you. And I will do something this weekend, and it won't be bloody flowers. I'm not going to give you a present that dies, okay? I'll just send him a key and go, is that going to fit the ball around his ankle?
Oh, come on now. Look at all those lines of 3 thumbs up.
Yeah, I know. I'm the condemned here.
Yeah.
Vern and Merger. Have we seen you before there, my friend?
Yeah, I saw Vern.
Yeah, of course we have.
Yeah. All right.
Smoking
Are we out of
bit.
here on that note?
Okay. See you later.
Have a great
Pick
day
right
tomorrow.
the first time. And thanks for being here. Press the like. Watch the video tomorrow. Learn as a group. That's what we do. Wisdom. Group average. It has all the answers. See you later, guys. And the privilege was Tyson's.
Yeah, for sure. That was so great, Tyson. I'm glad. Thanks for sharing that.
Come on, man.
Good night and not too cow.
Yeah, night.
Tyson will never be